Once upon a time in a little village, there lived a girl named Bella. Bella loved the trees, the birds, and the soft whisper of the wind. She lived near a big, magical rainforest called the Green Giants. One day, Bella heard a sad story. The Green Giants were in trouble. People were cutting down the trees, and the animals were losing their homes. Bella felt a big lump in her heart. "I have to do something," she said to herself. Bella put on her adventure hat and grabbed a bag. "I'm going to save the Green Giants," she declared. Off she went into the heart of the magical forest. As she walked, Bella saw trees that were older than her grandma. "Oh, these trees are like wise old friends," she thought. Bella heard a soft rustle in the leaves. It was a monkey, looking sad. "We need your help, Bella," the monkey said. Bella nodded and continued deeper into the forest. She met a colorful parrot named Polly who told her, "The trees are our homes, Bella. They keep us safe. Please save them." Bella felt determined. She marched on, and soon she found a rushing river. "The river is our life," said a wise turtle, "but it's getting dirty because of all the cutting. Help us, Bella!" With her bag in hand, Bella started picking up the litter near the river. She smiled, knowing that even small things could make a big difference. Then, Bella noticed something shiny on the ground. It was a tiny, sparkling seed. "What's this?" she wondered. The seed whispered, "Plant me, Bella. I can grow into a big, strong tree." Bella gently planted the seed in the soft soil, promising to take care of it. As Bella continued her journey, she met more animals, a friendly snake, a hopping frog, and a fluttering butterfly. They all shared their worries, and Bella listened with her heart wide open. After a while, Bella reached the heart of the Green Giants. There, she saw the biggest tree of all, the Grand Elder. "Dear Bella, you have a kind heart," said the Grand Elder. "With your love, you've brought hope to the Green Giants. Promise to protect us, and we'll thrive again." Bella nodded, hugging the Grand Elder. She promised to tell everyone in her village about the magic of the Green Giants and how important it was to protect them. With a heart full of joy, Bella walked back to her village. She shared her adventure, and soon the villagers joined hands to save the Green Giants. Trees were planted, rivers cleaned, and the magical rainforest began to bloom again. Bella smiled, knowing that even a small girl could make a big difference. From that day on, the Green Giants stood tall and proud, thanks to the kindness and bravery of a little girl named Bella. Once upon a time, in a spooky castle high on a hill, there lived a friendly Dracula. He wasn't like the scary Dracula you might have heard about. Dracula loved to throw parties and make his monster friends happy. One day, as the year was about to end, Dracula had a fantastic idea. He wanted to host the biggest and best New Year's Eve party for all his monster pals. He thought about it for days, planning every detail to make sure everyone would have a howling good time. Dracula started by sending out special invitations to his friends, Frankie the Frankenstein, Mummy Mia, Batty the Bat, and Wolfie the Werewolf. The invitations had bats on them and said, "You're invited to Dracula's fantastic New Year's Eve bash. Bring your best monster moves and get ready to have a spooktacular time." As the clock ticked closer to midnight on New Year's Eve, the castle was buzzing with excitement. Dracula was busy decorating with creepy cobwebs, hanging bats, and sparkly confetti. He even had a dance floor where the monsters could show off their best monster moves. The guests started to arrive, and each one brought a little something to add to the party. Frankie brought his favorite bolts for a game of Monster Bowling. Mummy Mia wrapped herself up in shiny streamers. Batty brought delicious fruit punch, and Wolfie wore his snazziest bow tie. The music started, and the monsters danced and laughed the night away. Dracula spun around, showing his Dracula dance moves, while Frankie did the electric shock dance with his bolts. Mummy Mia twisted and twirled in her mummy wraps, and Batty flapped his wings to the beat. Wolfie moonwalked across the dance floor, howling with joy. As the clock approached midnight, Dracula gathered all his monster friends for a special countdown. They stood in a circle, fangs, bolts, wraps, and fur all together, ready to welcome the new year. Dracula grinned and said, "Let's count down together, my friends. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year!" The castle erupted with cheers, howls, and monster roars. Confetti and bats filled the air as the monsters exchanged hugs and high fives. They wished each other a fantastic new year filled with spooky adventures and happy moments. As the clock struck midnight, Dracula looked around at his monster friends, and his heart was filled with joy. He realized that the best way to start a new year was with friends who accepted you for who you were, bolts, fangs, wraps, and all. And so, in the spooky castle high on the hill, Dracula's New Year's Eve party became a tradition. Every year, the monsters gathered to celebrate friendship, dance, and the excitement of a new year filled with more monstrous fun. And they all lived monstrously ever after. Once upon a time, in a little town surrounded by green hills, there was a friendly monster named Gobble. Gobble was not like the scary monsters in stories. He was a squishy purple monster with big googly eyes and a fuzzy belly. One sunny day, Gobble woke up with a rumble in his tummy. He knew exactly what he wanted for breakfast, pancakes. So he wiggled out of his cozy monster bed, yawned, and trotted to the kitchen. In the kitchen, Gobble found a big mixing bowl and a bag of pancake mix. He poured the mix into the bowl and added water, stirring it with his squishy paws. The batter got all gooey and delicious. Gobble turned on the stove and carefully poured the batter onto the hot griddle. Soon, the kitchen was filled with the smell of sizzling pancakes. Gobble flipped them with his paw, making sure they were golden brown on both sides. When the pancakes were ready, Gobble stacked them on a plate and added a river of maple syrup. He sat at the table, his eyes wide with excitement, ready to gobble up his tasty breakfast. Gobble munched and slurped, enjoying every bite. After breakfast, Gobble felt full and happy. He decided it was a perfect day for an adventure. He grabbed his favorite red ball and bounced it through the living room, giggling with delight. As he played, Gobble noticed a colorful book on the shelf. It was about knights and dragons. Gobble loved stories about brave knights, so he grabbed the book and settled into his squishy chair. Page by page, Gobble went on a magical journey with the brave knight. He imagined himself in shining armor, battling dragons, and saving the day. Gobble roared like a dragon and stomped around the room, making up his own adventure. Feeling inspired, Gobble decided to create his own knight helmet. He found an old cereal box in the recycling bin and, with his trusty crayons, turned it into a splendid helmet. Gobble felt proud as he placed it on his head, ready for more adventures. With his new helmet, Gobble explored his backyard, imagining it was a mysterious forest full of magical creatures. He climbed imaginary mountains, crossed bubbling brooks, and even discovered a hidden treasure, which was just a shiny rock, but to Gobble, it was priceless. As the sun began to set, Gobble headed back inside, feeling tired but content. He curled up in his monster bed, snuggling under his cozy blanket, and closed his big googly eyes. And so, in the little town surrounded by green hills, Gobble the friendly monster dreamt of more pancake breakfasts and nightly adventures, ready for another day of fun when the sun woke up again. Once upon a time in the cheerful town of Harmonyville, there lived a boy named Danny. Danny loved playing outside with his friends and exploring the neighborhood. One day, as he was riding his bike, he noticed something unusual near the park. Curious, Danny pedaled over to investigate. To his surprise, he found a magical trash can that could talk. Its name was Binny, and it had a friendly face made of recycled materials. "Hi there, Danny! I'm Binny, the magical recycling bin," said the cheerful trash can. Danny's eyes widened with amazement. "Wow! A talking recycling bin? That's so cool!" Binny nodded. "I've been waiting for someone like you, Danny. I need your help to make Harmonyville even more magical." Danny scratched his head, wondering how he could help. "What can I do, Binny?" Binny explained. "Harmonyville needs your recycling magic. Collect recyclables like paper, plastic, and glass, and put them in me. Then watch the magic happen." Excited, Danny raced home and grabbed a big bag. He went around the neighborhood, collecting empty water bottles, newspapers, and empty cans. As he placed each item in Binny, he felt a tingling sensation in the air. Binny's lid started to sparkle, and a gentle breeze swirled around them. Suddenly, a beautiful garden appeared next to the park, filled with colorful flowers and buzzing butterflies. "Whoa, Binny! This is amazing!" Danny exclaimed. "That's the power of recycling, Danny. By taking care of our planet, we can make it more beautiful and magical," Binny explained. From that day on, Danny became the recycling hero of Harmonyville. He spread the word about recycling to his friends and family. Together, they organized a recycling club and started cleaning up the town. As Danny and his friends continued to recycle, more magical things happened. The air became cleaner, and the sky looked bluer. Animals started visiting the town, creating a harmony between nature and the people of Harmonyville. One day, as Danny placed an old cereal box in Binny, a rainbow appeared across the sky. Binny's lid spun around, and the rainbow's colors danced in the air. "Danny, you've done it! You've made Harmonyville the most magical place on Earth!" Binny cheered. Danny grinned from ear to ear. "Thanks, Binny, but it's not just me. It's everyone in Harmonyville working together to make our town better." The once ordinary town of Harmonyville had transformed into a magical haven, all because the people understood the importance of recycling. And so, Danny and his friends continued to recycle, creating a world where magic and care for the environment went hand in hand. Binny stood proudly in the park, reminding everyone that a little magic could be found in every recycled item. The end. In a colorful town nestled between green hills, there lived a shy boy named Timmy. He was not very big, but he had a heart as huge as the sky. Timmy had a dream. He wanted to play football for the school team, but because he was small, many thought he couldn't do it. One sunny day, Timmy saw a poster about the school football tryouts. He felt a mix of excitement and nervousness, but decided to give it a shot. On the field, kids were running around, kicking the ball with great energy. Timmy hesitated at first, but then he took a deep breath and joined in. Even though he stumbled and missed the ball, Timmy didn't give up. He kept trying, running faster, and practicing harder. Coach Mr. Larry saw his effort and believed in him. Timmy practiced every day, waking up early and playing during lunch breaks. With Coach Mr. Larry's help, he improved a lot. Finally, the big day came, the final tryouts. Timmy was really scared, but he was also very determined. As he ran with the ball, something amazing happened. Timmy felt stronger and more confident. He kicked the ball, and it flew right into the goal. The crowd, including his friends who had once doubted him, cheered like crazy. Timmy's face lit up with happiness. Coach Mr. Larry walked over, his eyes beaming with pride. "Welcome to the school team, Timmy. You've shown us all that with hard work and determination, you can achieve your dreams." From that day on, Timmy became a hero to other kids. He proved that no matter how small you are, if you never give up and believe in yourself, you can accomplish anything. And so, the little boy who everyone underestimated became the shining star of the school football team, teaching everyone the magic of never giving up on their dreams. Once upon a time, in big, bustling New York City, there was a clumsy construction worker named Benny. Benny loved building things, but he was a little bit clumsy. One day, he was given the important job of building the tallest skyscraper ever. Benny wore his bright yellow hard hat and carried a big toolbox. He hammered and sawed, trying his best. But, oh dear. Benny knocked over a pile of bricks and spilled a bucket of paint. But guess what? Benny didn't give up. With his big, friendly smile, he asked his friends for help. Together, they worked hard and built the skyscraper taller and stronger than ever before. When the sun set, the city sparkled with lights, and everyone looked up in awe at the amazing skyscraper. Benny, the clumsy construction worker, became a hero, showing everyone that with teamwork and a positive attitude, you can achieve anything, even if you're a little bit clumsy. And so, in the heart of New York City, stood the tallest skyscraper, built with love, teamwork, and a sprinkle of clumsiness. And they all lived happily ever after. In the faraway galaxy of Zentaria, Zoomer, a little alien, lived on the planet Nebulon. Nebulon had floating cities and busy markets. One day, Zoomer, on his hoverboard, explored beyond his home. Zoomer found a park with alien creatures playing music. He joined in, making cheerful sounds with his antenna-like ears. Then he zoomed to the city center, where holographic displays showed cool stuff. There were alien fashions, gadgets, and artists performing. In the city, Zoomer met alien kids playing Zorbatron. He played too, showing his quick moves. Everyone cheered, and Zoomer felt happy. He also visited alien museums to learn about Nebulon's history and traditions. As the day ended, the sky lit up with pretty colors. Zoomer and his new friends watched the stars paint the sky. It was beautiful. Grateful for the fun day, Zoomer thanked his Nebulonian friends. Promising to return, he hopped into his spaceship and zoomed away, leaving behind happy memories on Nebulon. And so, in the heart of Nebulon, the spirit of curiosity and friendship thrived, making each day an exciting adventure. Once upon a time in the lively town of Vegieville, there was a little girl named Sophie. Sophie was just like any other 10-year-old, but she had a magical secret. She loved vegetables. While her friends enjoyed cookies, candies, and ice cream, Sophie's favorite treats were broccoli, carrots, and juicy tomatoes. One sunny day, Sophie decided to go on an adventure in Vegieville Forest. Armed with her trusty basket, she skipped along the winding paths, surrounded by tall trees and colorful flowers. As she strolled, a mischievous bunny named Benny hopped out from behind a bush. "Hey, Sophie, what's in your basket?" Benny asked, his whiskers twitching with curiosity. "Oh, just my favorite snacks, veggies," Sophie replied with a big grin. Benny wrinkled his nose, puzzled. "Veggies? But what about cupcakes and candy? Don't you like those?" Sophie laughed. "Sure, they're tasty, but veggies make me strong and happy. Want to join me on my Veggie Adventure?" Benny hesitated for a moment, then shrugged and agreed. As they walked deeper into the forest, Sophie spotted a vibrant rainbow of vegetables. Red tomatoes, orange carrots, yellow peppers, green spinach, and purple eggplants. Sophie and Benny reached the heart of the forest, where they found a magical clearing filled with dancing vegetables. The broccoli twirled gracefully, the carrots hopped joyfully, and the tomatoes bounced merrily. It was a veggie celebration! Amazed, Benny exclaimed, "This is incredible! I had no idea veggies could be so much fun!" Sophie giggled. "See, Benny? Eating veggies is not just good for your body, but it's also fun!" The veggies noticed the newcomers and invited them to join the dance. Sophie and Benny happily twirled and hopped with their new vegetable friends. The atmosphere was filled with laughter and the crunching sound of fresh veggies. After the lively dance, the veggies gathered around Sophie and Benny. "Thank you for joining our celebration. You've brought so much joy," said Mr. Tomato. "We want to show you our secret to staying healthy and happy," added Mrs. Carrot. The veggies revealed a magical recipe book filled with delicious and nutritious dishes made from their colorful friends. Sophie and Benny's eyes widened with excitement. Sophie decided to try making a rainbow salad. She gathered tomatoes, carrots, peppers, spinach, and eggplants. The veggies showed her how to mix them together to create a beautiful and tasty masterpiece. Benny, who was a little unsure about trying veggies at first, took a small bite of the rainbow salad. His eyes widened, and a big smile appeared on his face. "This is amazing! Veggies can be so yummy!" Benny exclaimed. From that day forward, Sophie and Benny became Vegieville's health ambassadors. They shared the magical recipe book with everyone in town, teaching them the importance of eating a rainbow of vegetables to stay healthy and happy. And so, in Vegieville, the once reluctant residents discovered the joy of eating veggies. The town flourished with energy, laughter, and vibrant colors, thanks to the magical world of vegetables and the two friends who embraced the goodness of healthy eating. And they all lived happily and healthily ever after. The end. Once upon a time, there was a little bunny named Hoppy. Hoppy loved to hop around in the sunny meadow, exploring new places. One day, Hoppy found a magical rainbow bridge at the edge of the meadow. Curious and excited, Hoppy hopped onto the bridge. To Hoppy's surprise, the rainbow bridge took him to a candy land filled with giant lollipops, chocolate rivers, and marshmallow trees. Hoppy couldn't believe his eyes. He giggled and tasted a piece of the chocolate river. It was the yummiest chocolate he had ever eaten. As Hoppy explored, he met friendly talking candies who wanted to play games. Hoppy played hopscotch with gummy bears and had a marshmallow snowball fight with jelly beans. They all laughed and had so much fun. When the sun started to set, Hoppy knew it was time to go home. He hopped back onto the Rainbow Bridge, waving goodbye to his candy friends. With a happy heart and a tummy full of sweets, Hoppy returned to the meadow, ready to dream about his sweet adventure. And from that day on, Hoppy knew that magic could be found in the most unexpected places. In a town where laughter echoed through the streets and the scent of freshly baked bread wafted from the bakery, there lived a young detective named Jake. Detective Jake was not your ordinary detective. He had an extraordinary talent for solving mysteries. One sunny morning, as the town woke up to the cheerful chirping of birds, a peculiar mystery unfolded. The town's magical key, which held the enchanting secret to the town library, had vanished. The library was a place of wonder, filled with shelves of books that could transport readers to far-off lands and magical adventures. Without the key, the library remained closed, leaving the townsfolk without their favorite stories. Word of the missing key spread like wildfire, and the concerned mayor, Mr. Jenkins, sought out Detective Jake for help. With determination in his eyes, Detective Jake donned his detective hat, adjusted his glasses, and set out to unravel the mystery. His first stop was the town square, where he met Mrs. Turner, the friendly baker, who had been up before the sun, kneading dough for her famous cinnamon rolls. Mrs. Turner, with her flour-covered hands, recounted seeing a shadowy figure near the library the previous night. "It was too dark to see clearly, Detective Jake, but I'm certain something unusual was afoot," she said, her eyes wide with worry. Armed with this valuable clue, Detective Jake made his way to Mr. Patel's grocery store. Mr. Patel, the grocer, was a keen listener and had an ear for the town's gossip. He shared that he had heard some rustling noises coming from behind the library while he was closing his shop. "It could have been the wind, but my instincts tell me otherwise," Mr. Patel said, scratching his head in puzzlement. Detective Jake thanked Mr. Patel and hurried to the library. As he approached, he noticed the soft rays of the morning sun illuminating the area. Kneeling down, he examined the ground near the library door and found a series of peculiar footprints. The footprints led him to a cluster of bushes, where he spotted a glimmer of light. His heart racing with excitement, Detective Jake carefully moved the bushes aside, and there, nestled among the leaves, was a small, glittering object, the magical key. He gingerly picked it up, marveling at its intricate design and the way it sparkled in the sunlight. With the key safely in his pocket, Detective Jake returned to the mayor's office, where Mr. Jenkins welcomed him with a wide smile. The mayor was immensely grateful and decided to organize a grand celebration in Detective Jake's honor. The entire town came together to express their thanks. There were banners, balloons, and a delicious feast prepared by Mrs. Turner, the baker. During the celebration, Lily, a curious young girl, approached Detective Jake. Her eyes were filled with admiration as she said, "Detective Jake, you're amazing! How did you know where to find the key?" Detective Jake knelt down to Lily's eye level and winked. "Observation and a bit of curiosity can work wonders, Lily. Always pay attention to the little details, and you might solve mysteries too one day." Inspired by Detective Jake's words, Lily nodded eagerly. Her imagination ignited with the possibility of becoming a detective one day. As the day turned to evening, the festivities came to an end. Detective Jake bid farewell to the townsfolk, his heart filled with gratitude for their kindness. He walked back home under the starlit sky, the magical key safely tucked away. Detective Jake knew that the town's mystery had not only been about finding a key, but also about the connections formed and the lessons learned. He felt a warm sense of accomplishment, knowing that he had not only solved the mystery, but also inspired a young mind. And so, Detective Jake's tale became a cherished story in the town, a story of bravery, kindness, and the magical power of curiosity. From that day on, whenever the sun set and the stars twinkled above, children would gather around to hear the story of Detective Jake and the magical key, a tale that reminded them of the endless wonders that could be unlocked with a bit of curiosity and a heart full of courage. And that's the end of Detective Jake and the Magical Key, a story that celebrated the spirit of adventure and the magic of discovery. In a a cool little town, there was a super brave firefighter named Harry. Wearing a tough uniform and a bright red helmet, Harry's best buddy was a fire truck named Blaze. One sunny day, Harry and Blaze were all set for a new adventure. As they rolled through the town, their siren going, woo-woo! Harry heard about something awesome called the Rainbow Splash. It was like magic water that could put out any fire. Harry's friend, Sunny Squirrel, told him it was hidden deep in the enchanted forest. Through the forest they went, with trees all around and colorful butterflies fluttering by. Harry's eyes sparkled with excitement. "We're on a mission, Blaze! Let's find that magical rainbow splash!" Harry shouted. They drove and drove until they found a bubbling brook with water shining in all the colors of the rainbow. Harry clapped his hands and did a little happy dance. "I found it, Blaze! The rainbow splash!" Harry cheered. But oh no! Sneaky fairies in the forest wanted to play a trick on Harry. They giggled and sprinkled fairy dust on Blaze. Suddenly, Blaze's wheels started spinning by themselves. "Uh-oh, Blaze! We're spinning like crazy!" Harry laughed. The fairies couldn't stop giggling, but Harry wasn't worried. He whipped out his trusty toy wrench from his pocket and turned Blaze's wheels the other way. "Spin, spin, go away! We want to save the day!" Harry chanted. And just like magic, Blaze stopped spinning. Harry gave Blaze a high five, and they kept on going. Finally, they reached Oliver Owl's house. Smoke was puffing out from his chimney. "Harry, my cookie hero! The cookies in my oven are in trouble and I can't reach them!" Oliver Owl said with big eyes. "No problem for Harry!" With extra-long firefighter gloves, Harry reached into the oven, saved the cookies, and shared a tasty snack with Oliver. "Thanks, Harry! You're my hero!" Oliver cheered. With a big grin, Harry waved goodbye to Oliver and drove back through the enchanted forest. The fairies, instead of playing tricks, clapped and cheered. Harry and Blaze returned to the town, ready for more adventures. And that's how Harry, the little firefighter, became the hero of the enchanted forest. Once upon a time, in the North Pole, there was a little elf named Jingle. Jingle wasn't like the other elves. He wasn't good at making toys, but he had a heart full of kindness and a desire to help others. One snowy morning, Santa Claus called all the elves to the toy workshop. The workshop was buzzing with excitement as the elves prepared for Christmas Eve. They were making dolls, teddy bears, and toy cars, but Jingle struggled to keep up. Feeling a bit down, Jingle decided to take a walk to clear his mind. As he strolled through the snowy village, he noticed a sad look on the face of a snowman. The snowman's hat had blown away in the wind, and he looked very lonely without it. Jingle, being a helpful elf, rushed to the snowman's side. "Don't worry, I'll find your hat," he promised with a cheerful smile. Jingle searched high and low, peeking behind snow-covered trees and beneath piles of fluffy snow. Finally, he spotted the hat caught in a tree branch. With a little hop and a stretch, Jingle managed to reach the hat and bring it back to the grateful snowman. "Thank you, Jingle! You're the best!" exclaimed the snowman, his coal eyes sparkling with joy. Jingle felt a warm glow inside. Even though he couldn't make toys as well as the other elves, he discovered that he had a special talent for helping others. Inspired by his success, Jingle returned to the toy workshop with newfound confidence. Santa noticed the twinkle in Jingle's eyes and approached him. "What's got you so cheerful, Jingle?" asked Santa, his belly shaking like a bowl full of jelly. Jingle beamed. "I helped a snowman find his hat, Santa. It made me really happy." Santa chuckled warmly. "Well, Jingle, Christmas is all about spreading joy and kindness. Maybe you can find a way to use your special talent to help with Christmas preparations." Jingle thought for a moment, and then an idea popped into his head. "What if I help organize the presents and make sure they get to the right houses on Christmas Eve?" Santa nodded, impressed by Jingle's enthusiasm. "That's a splendid idea, Jingle. You'll be my special delivery elf. Make sure each gift is wrapped with care and deliver them with a sprinkle of Christmas magic." From that day on, Jingle worked tirelessly, wrapping presents and preparing a magical sleigh for the big night. He made a list and checked it twice, just like Santa taught him. As Christmas Eve approached, Jingle couldn't contain his excitement. When the clock struck midnight, Santa and his reindeer soared into the night sky, with Jingle riding in the magical sleigh behind them. Jingle's heart raced with joy as they flew over snow-covered rooftops, delivering presents to children around the world. Jingle's helping spirit brought extra magic to Christmas that year. The children woke up on Christmas morning to find their presents perfectly placed under the tree, and a little note signed by Jingle, the helpful elf. From that Christmas on, Jingle became known as Santa's most reliable helper. And as the years passed, the story of the little elf who found his special talent and spread joy to the world became a favorite tale told in the North Pole and beyond. And so, every Christmas, as the snow falls gently and the stars twinkle in the night sky, children around the world remember the helpful elf named Jingle, who proved that even the smallest acts of kindness can make a big difference in spreading the magic of Christmas.
Merry Christmas! Ho, 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 ho.
Once upon a time, in the town of Blue Harbor, there lived a girl named Ava. Ava loved the ocean, and her magical friend was a talking tree named Blossom, who grew tall and wise in her backyard. One day, while Ava and Blossom were playing by the shore, they noticed something heartbreaking. The ocean waves carried globs of thick, black oil, and the seagulls above struggled to find clean spots to land. "Oh no, Blossom," Ava said with a frown. "The ocean is in trouble. We have to help." Blossom nodded in agreement. "Ava, we can be ocean heroes. Let's start by cleaning up the oil spill and protecting our sea friends." Determined, Ava and Blossom rushed to the beach with buckets and rags. They carefully scooped up the oily mess, making sure not to harm any sea creatures. Ava's heart sank at the sight of oil-covered seagulls, but she knew they had to do something. As they worked, Blossom whispered, "Ava, we can also spread awareness about protecting the ocean. Let's tell everyone about the importance of keeping our waters clean." Ava beamed. "You're right, Blossom. We'll make sure everyone knows how to be ocean heroes." With renewed energy, Ava and Blossom organized a community event called Save Our Seas Day in Blue Harbor. They created posters, spoke to their neighbors, and invited everyone to join their cause. On the big day, the townsfolk gathered at the beach, united by a shared love for the ocean. Ava stood on a stage made of recycled materials and spoke passionately. "We can all be ocean heroes. Together, we can heal our waters and protect the creatures that call the ocean home." The crowd cheered, and soon, Blue Harbor buzzed with activity. People donned gloves and joined Ava and Blossom in cleaning up the oil spill. They also learned about responsible waste disposal and how to reduce their use of harmful materials. As the sun set on Save Our Seas Day, Ava felt a sense of accomplishment. The beach sparkled, free from the clutches of the oil spill. The seagulls soared in the sky, their feathers clean and glistening. Ava and Blossom knew their work was not done, but they were proud to be part of a community that cared for the ocean. Blue Harbor became a shining example of how small actions, when done together, could make a big difference in healing our precious planet. And so, in the town of Blue Harbor, Ava and her friends continued to be ocean heroes, protecting the sea and living happily ever after. In a bustling city on the moon, there lived a little robot named Sparky. Unlike the other robots, Sparky had a knack for solving problems that seemed impossible. His heart beeped with determination, and his eyes sparkled with a curious gleam. One day, the Moon City faced a challenging issue. A massive crater had formed, blocking the main pathway to the vital energy source that powered the entire city. The citizens of the Moon City were puzzled, and their gears whirred with worry. It was a problem that seemed too big to solve. But Sparky, with his keen problem-solving skills, stepped forward. He examined the crater and realized that the only way to reach the energy source was to build a sturdy bridge across the gap. Sparky gathered his robot friends and presented his plan. Each robot had a unique skill, and Sparky assigned them tasks based on their abilities. Yarrow, with his strong arms, was tasked with collecting materials, while Lumina, the robot with bright lights, would work on illuminating the area. As the robots worked together, Sparky discovered a challenge. The materials needed were located in a distant crater filled with unpredictable moonquakes. It was a risky mission, but Sparky wasn't deterred. He devised a plan to safely extract the materials by using special magnetic boots to anchor themselves during the moonquakes. The journey to the distant crater was arduous, and Sparky faced numerous obstacles. Moon rocks tumbled, and the ground shook beneath their metallic feet. However, Sparky's quick thinking and resourcefulness guided the team through each obstacle. Upon reaching the distant crater, the robots collected the necessary materials and returned to the main crater. With focused determination, they began constructing the bridge. Sparky used his precise calculations to ensure the bridge was stable and strong enough to withstand any future moonquakes. As the bridge took shape, the Moon City watched in awe. The citizens marveled at Sparky's problem-solving skills and the teamwork of the robots. When the bridge was complete, the once impassable crater became a symbol of resilience and ingenuity. The city's energy source was now accessible, thanks to Sparky's determination and the collaborative efforts of the robot citizens. The Moon City celebrated the successful resolution of the challenging problem, and Sparky's heart beeped with satisfaction. From that day forward, Sparky became known as the ingenious problem solver of the Moon City. He continued to face challenges head-on, always ready to use his clever mind and resourcefulness to overcome obstacles. And as the Moon City continued to thrive, Sparky's eyes continued to sparkle with the satisfaction of a robot who had proven that even the toughest problems could be solved through determination and teamwork. Once upon a time in a cozy little town, there was a spooky old house at the end of Maple Street. It had a reputation for being haunted, but the truth was far from frightening. One sunny morning, the Johnson family moved into the mysterious house. Their daughter Lily was a curious and adventurous girl. She'd heard stories about the house but wasn't afraid. As the family settled in, they heard creaks and whispers in the night. But instead of being scared, they decided to investigate. Lily tiptoed to the source of the sounds and discovered a friendly ghost named Max. Max explained that he had lived in the house for centuries and was now its guardian. He loved helping new families settle in and feel at home. With Max's guidance, the Johnsons soon felt the house's warm embrace. He fixed squeaky doors, found lost items, and even played hide-and-seek with Lily. The house transformed into a place filled with laughter and joy. As the days went by, the Johnsons realized that not all ghosts were scary. Some, like Max, were there to offer a helping hand and make new friends. And so, in their charming haunted house, they lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, in a quaint little town named Harmonyville, there lived a friendly robot named Rusty. Rusty had a big heart and was always eager to help those in need. He had shiny metal arms, a bright blue body, and a warm smile that never faded. One sunny morning, Rusty was strolling down Main Street when he spotted a grumpy old lady named Mrs. Thompson standing at a crosswalk. She had a scowl on her face and was tapping her foot impatiently. She wanted to cross the busy street, but her frail legs made it challenging. Rusty, being the helpful robot he was, approached Mrs. Thompson with a cheerful, "Good morning, ma'am. May I assist you in crossing the street safely?" Mrs. Thompson huffed and looked at Rusty with suspicion. "I don't need any help from a contraption like you. I've been crossing streets for decades without any help from robots." Rusty's heart sank a little, but he understood that some people were hesitant about technology. Determined to win her over, Rusty decided to be patient. He stepped back and said, "That's perfectly fine, ma'am. I'll be right here if you change your mind." Mrs. Thompson grumbled, but attempted to cross the street on her own. However, the traffic was fast, and she had trouble keeping up. As she stumbled, Rusty swiftly moved beside her and extended his metallic arm, offering her a steady hand. Mrs. Thompson was reluctant at first, but Rusty's gentle voice and kind eyes melted her heart. She hesitantly took his hand, and together they safely crossed the bustling street. Once on the other side, Mrs. Thompson realized how kind and helpful Rusty had been. "You know, young man," she said, her voice softer now, "you're not like the other robots I've seen. You have a kind heart and you genuinely care about people." Rusty beamed with joy, his LED lights flashing happily. "Thank you, ma'am. I just want to make the world a better place." Over the next few weeks, Rusty and Mrs. Thompson became unlikely friends. Rusty helped her with her groceries, walked her to the park, and even fixed a few things around her home. Mrs. Thompson, in return, shared stories from her past and taught Rusty about the town's history. As time passed, Mrs. Thompson's grumpy exterior melted away, revealing the warm and kind-hearted woman she truly was. And she realized that not all robots were heartless machines. Some, like Rusty, had hearts of gold. One day, Mrs. Thompson looked at Rusty with a twinkle in her eye and said, "You know, Rusty, I think it's time I let you help me cross the street again." Rusty grinned, his gears whirring with excitement. "Of course, Mrs. Thompson. I'll always be here to help." And so, in the town of Harmonyville, a heartwarming friendship between a friendly robot and a once grumpy old lady blossomed, reminding everyone that kindness and understanding could bridge even the widest generation gap. One night, Tim and his trusty astronaut dog, Astro, zoomed to the moon. They hopped out of their rocket and saw a friendly alien named Luna. Luna had shiny silver skin and a sparkly smile. "Hello, Earth friends," Luna said, offering moon cookies. Tim and Astro giggled, munching on the tasty treats. They showed Luna how to jump really high in the low gravity, making her giggle too. As the moon got chilly, Luna said, "Time to return to Earth, friends." Tim, Astro, and Luna hopped back into the rocket and whooshed home. Back in their cozy room, Tim and Astro snuggled in their spaceship-shaped bed. Tim whispered, "What an amazing adventure, Astro! We met an alien on the moon!" Astro wagged his tail, and they drifted into dreamland, knowing more adventures awaited them. Once upon a time, in a colorful toy store, there lived a little teddy bear named Teddy. Teddy had soft brown fur and bright button-like eyes. He was a cozy and cuddly bear, and he loved being hugged by children. But one sunny morning, Teddy realized he was all alone on a shelf. "Oh no!" Teddy exclaimed. "Where is everyone?" Teddy had been left behind when a family had visited the toy store the day before. Now he was determined to find his way home. With his tiny paws and a heart full of determination, Teddy decided to embark on an adventure. He rolled off the shelf and onto the floor, wobbling his way toward the exit. Outside, Teddy faced a big, bustling world full of towering buildings and noisy streets, but he was undeterred. He knew he had to find his way back to the loving arms of a child. As Teddy ventured through the city, he encountered many friendly animals, a chatty squirrel, a curious cat, and even a wise old owl. They all tried to help Teddy find his way home, but Teddy just couldn't seem to recognize any of the places they mentioned. With each encounter, Teddy felt a little less alone and a little more hopeful. One evening, as the sun began to set, Teddy heard the laughter of children in the distance. He followed the sound until he reached a beautiful park. There, he saw a group of kids playing on swings and slides. One little girl with a bright smile caught Teddy's eye. She was holding a teddy bear that looked just like him. "That's it! That's my home!" Teddy thought. With a leap of joy, Teddy rolled toward the girl. She spotted him and picked him up, hugging him tightly. Teddy had found his way back home at last. From that day forward, Teddy was cherished and loved by the little girl. He realized that sometimes an adventure can lead you right where you belong, and that home is where your heart is happiest. In a lush green jungle, there lived a chubby, hungry hippo named Happy. Happy loved exploring and finding yummy things to eat. One bright morning, Happy's tummy rumbled louder than ever. With a big smile, Happy wiggled out of the river and set off on a grand adventure to find the tastiest treats. Through the jungle, Happy trotted, splashing in puddles and wiggling ears with excitement. Soon, Happy stumbled upon a magical tree with the most delicious fruits dangling from its branches. Happy's eyes widened and a happy dance began. Munching on the juicy fruits, Happy's belly was soon as round as the sun. But just as Happy was about to leave, the tree whispered, "Thank you for enjoying my fruits, Happy. As a reward, I grant you a magic seed." Curious, Happy planted the seed near the river. To everyone's surprise, it grew into a tree with fruits that made anyone who ate them feel joyful and kind. Now, whenever Happy was hungry, all the jungle animals gathered around the tree. They shared the magical fruits and became the happiest, kindest friends in the jungle. And so, Happy the hippo, with the help of a magical seed, filled not just their belly, but the whole jungle with happiness. Once in a quiet garden, there was a curious cat named Whiskers and a playful mouse named Squeaky. Whiskers didn't like Squeaky at first. Cats and mice, after all, were supposed to be enemies. One day, a big scary owl flew into the garden, its eyes gleaming with hunger. Whiskers and Squeaky, frightened, huddled together in a tiny corner. They realized they needed each other to stay safe. Working together, they cleverly tricked the owl, making it fly away. After the danger was gone, something magical happened. Whiskers looked at Squeaky with new eyes, realizing how brave and smart the little mouse was. From that moment on, Whiskers and Squeaky became the best of friends. They explored the garden together, finding hidden nooks and crannies. They played games, shared tasty crumbs, and watched the stars at night. Even though they were different, Whiskers the cat and Squeaky the mouse showed everyone that friendship could be found in the most unexpected places. And in that garden, they lived happily ever after, side by side, always watching out for each other. Once upon a time, in a big green forest, there lived a lazy sloth named Sammy. Sammy the sloth loved to sleep all day long. He had a cozy treehouse high up in the trees. One sunny day, all his friends, the chatty birds and playful monkeys, wanted to go on an adventure. They asked Sammy to join them. "Come on, Sammy, let's explore the rainbow waterfall," chirped the birds. But Sammy yawned and said, "I'm too sleepy to go on an adventure." His friends were sad but didn't give up. They hatched a plan. The monkeys swung by Sammy's treehouse and gently carried him on their backs to the rainbow waterfall. When Sammy woke up and saw the beautiful waterfall, he couldn't believe his eyes. He giggled with joy and joined his friends under the rainbow. From that day on, Sammy the sloth wasn't lazy anymore. He loved going on adventures with his friends, and they all lived happily in the colorful forest, exploring new places and making wonderful memories together. Once upon a time, there was a big, fluffy bear named Coco. Coco loved honey more than anything in the whole wide world. One sunny day, Coco's tummy rumbled loudly. He decided it was time to find some honey. With his teddy bear backpack on, Coco marched into the forest, his big paws making funny noises on the crunchy leaves. He looked high and low, under rocks and behind trees, but no honey was in sight. Coco didn't give up. He followed the buzzing sound and found a beehive up in a tall tree, but the bees didn't want to share their honey. Coco thought for a moment. Then he climbed into his backpack and pulled out a jar of yummy raspberry jam. He showed the bees his sweet treat, and they liked the idea. They shared their honey with Coco, and they all had a honey and jam party in the forest. Coco was the happiest bear, and the bees made a new friend. And from that day on, whenever Coco wanted honey, he just had to share a little jam and make some buzzing friends. Once upon a time, there was a little zombie named Zach. Zach wasn't like other zombies. He was curious and loved exploring. One day, while wandering in the haunted woods, he discovered an old, creaky treasure chest hidden beneath a pile of leaves. With excitement in his eyes, Zach opened the chest and found it filled with sparkling gems and ancient artifacts. Among the treasures, he found a map leading to a secret cave deep within the woods. Eager for adventure, Zach followed the map's winding path. Inside the cave, Zach found glittering crystals and mysterious glowing mushrooms. As he explored, he stumbled upon a magical fountain. The fountain had water that glowed like starlight, and when Zach touched it, it filled him with warmth and courage. Feeling brave, Zach continued his adventure, facing dark corners and hidden passages. Along the way, he found a beautiful crystal key. Little did he know, this key would unlock the heart of the haunted woods, filling it with light and hope. Zach's discovery made him a hero among the creatures of the woods. They celebrated his bravery, and from that day on, the haunted woods became a place of wonder and enchantment, all thanks to Zach and his magical treasure chest. And so, Zach's adventure turned a spooky forest into a place of beauty, where everyone lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, there was a little scientist named Sam. Sam was only 5 years old, but he loved to explore and learn about the world. One sunny day, Sam put on his tiny lab coat and grabbed his magnifying glass. He was ready for a big adventure. Sam's adventure began in his backyard. With his magnifying glass in hand, Sam looked closely at the flowers and bugs. he discovered that ants were tiny superheroes carrying food back to their anthill. Sam giggled with excitement and whispered, "You're amazing, little ants!" Next, Sam ventured to the kitchen, where he found colorful fruits and vegetables. Sam carefully cut a strawberry and examined it under his magnifying glass. He saw tiny seeds on the surface and exclaimed, "Nature is so cool! Strawberries have lots of little seeds!" With his curiosity piqued, Sam decided to explore the night sky. As the sun set and the stars came out, Sam gazed up at the twinkling lights. He pointed his magnifying glass toward the moon and observed its craters. Sam grinned and said, "The moon is like a big space cookie with lots of bumps." Feeling adventurous, Sam tiptoed to the living room and found an old globe. He spun it around and around, looking at all the countries and oceans. Sam's eyes widened with wonder, and he said, "I want to visit every place and learn about the people and animals there." Sam's adventure continued indoors as he opened a book about dinosaurs. He studied the colorful illustrations and read about different types of dinosaurs. Sam pretended to be a dinosaur, roaring and stomping around the room. He laughed and said, "I'm a friendly dinosaur, just like in the book." After a day filled with exciting discoveries, Sam yawned and felt a little sleepy. He put away his magnifying glass and tucked himself into bed. As he closed his eyes, Sam dreamed of more adventures, imagining exploring the deepest parts of the ocean and discovering hidden treasures. And so, the little scientist named Sam drifted off to sleep, looking forward to more adventures and learning new things the next day. Once upon a time, in a quaint little town, there lived a young woman named Emma. Emma was an artist who loved to paint and create beautiful things. One day, as she strolled through the town square, she noticed a mysterious old bookstore she'd never seen before. Intrigued, Emma pushed open the creaky door and entered the dusty shop. The air smelled of old paper and adventures waiting to be discovered. As Emma browsed through the shelves, she found a peculiar book with a shimmering cover. The title read, "The Enchanted Palette." Curiosity sparked in Emma's eyes as she opened the book. To her surprise, the pages were blank, but there was a note that said, "Fill these pages with the colors of your imagination, and magical things will happen." Emma thought it was a peculiar idea, but decided to give it a try. She dipped her paintbrush into the colors of her palette and began to paint on the blank pages. As soon as she finished her first stroke, the room around her began to change. The walls of the bookstore transformed into a lush, vibrant forest. Emma found herself standing on a path made of swirling colors. Excitement bubbled within her as she realized she had entered a magical realm through her paintings. With each stroke of her brush, Emma could create new landscapes and bring them to life. She painted a meadow filled with talking flowers and a sky with flying fish. Everywhere she turned, her imagination became a reality. As Emma explored this enchanting world, she discovered a lake that reflected the starry night sky. She painted a small boat and sailed across the glittering waters, guided by the gentle glow of fireflies. The magical creatures of the realm welcomed her with joy. In her travels, Emma encountered a wise old owl perched on a rainbow-colored tree. The owl spoke in riddles and shared ancient stories about the power of creativity. Emma listened intently, realizing that her art had the ability to bring happiness and wonder to the world. As the day turned to dusk, Emma decided it was time to return home. She painted a door on the canvas, and with a swish of her brush, the doorway appeared. Emma stepped through, finding herself back in the cozy bookstore. The once blank pages of The Enchanted Palette were now filled with the magical world she had created. Emma closed the book, grateful for the extraordinary adventure it had brought into her life. From that day forward, whenever Emma wanted to escape into a world of magic and imagination, she would open The Enchanted Palette and let her creativity flow. The little bookstore became her secret gateway to endless wonders, and Emma continued to paint the most extraordinary tales on its pages. And so, the artist's ordinary days were filled with the extraordinary magic she had unlocked through her art, turning her life into a canvas of endless possibilities. On a snowy Christmas Eve at the North Pole, Santa Claus, with his rosy cheeks and twinkling eyes, was busy preparing for the most magical night of the year. The elves were scurrying about, wrapping presents and loading the sleigh with gifts for children all over the world. Santa checked his list twice, making sure no one was left out. The workshop buzzed with excitement as the reindeer pranced around, eager to take flight. The air was filled with the sweet scent of peppermint and the sound of cheerful Christmas carols. As Santa harnessed his reindeer, he felt a pang of excitement. He loved bringing joy to children and couldn't wait to see their happy faces on Christmas morning. Mrs. Claus handed him a warm mug of cocoa and gave him a reassuring smile. "Safe travels, dear. Bring back lots of stories from your journey," she said. Santa chuckled, giving her a quick kiss on the cheek. "I'll be back before you know it, my love." With a hearty ho, 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 Santa and his team of reindeer took off into the starlit night. The sleigh bells jingled merrily, and Santa's laughter echoed through the snowy landscape. As Santa soared through the sky, he marveled at the beauty of the world below. Glittering lights adorned houses, and the glow of Christmas trees lit up living rooms. The moon cast a gentle glow over the sleeping towns, and snowflakes danced in the air. Santa made his first stop in a small village where children had hung stockings by the fireplace. With a swift and silent entrance, he filled the stockings with treats and toys. He tiptoed around the room, careful not to wake anyone, and left a note thanking the children for the delicious cookies and milk. Next, Santa visited a bustling city where skyscrapers touched the stars. He quietly descended into apartments, leaving surprises for the children dreaming of sugar plums. In one apartment, he found a child's drawing of him with a heartfelt message. "Dear Santa, thank you for making Christmas special." Touched by the gratitude, Santa left an extra special gift and a note in return, promising to visit again next year. As the night progressed, Santa traveled across continents, bringing joy to homes far and wide. He encountered snowstorms and clear skies, but nothing could dampen his spirits. The magic of Christmas enveloped the world, connecting people with the warmth of love and kindness. As dawn approached, Santa made his way back to the North Pole. The first rays of sunlight painted the sky in hues of pink and gold. The reindeer landed gracefully, and Santa entered his cozy home, greeted by Mrs. Claus and the aroma of a hearty Christmas breakfast. Exhausted but happy, Santa settled into his favorite chair by the fireplace. Mrs. Claus handed him a plate of warm cookies, and they shared stories of the night's adventures. "It was another wonderful Christmas Eve," Santa sighed contentedly. Mrs. Claus smiled. "And you made it magical for so many children." As Santa closed his eyes for a well-deserved rest, he couldn't help but feel grateful for the joy he brought to the world. With a heart full of love, he whispered, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night."
Merry Christmas! Ho, 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 ho.
Once upon a time in the groovy city of Jazzville, there lived a cool cat named Bluesy. Bluesy wasn't your average feline. He wore sleek sunglasses that matched his jet black fur and had a talent that set him apart from the rest. Bluesy was the coolest saxophone player in town, and he played at the hippest jazz club called Swingin' Paws. Jazzville was a city full of life, rhythm, and soul. But beneath the swinging tunes and jazzy beats lurked a dark secret. The city was ruled by a bunch of shady characters who thought they could control everything. Bluesy loved playing his saxophone at Swingin' Paws, and the crowd adored him. His smooth tunes could make anyone forget their worries and tap their paws to the rhythm. Little did Bluesy know, his music had caught the attention of the boss, Big Paws Tony. Big Paws Tony was a grumpy old cat who liked to keep things under his control. When he heard Bluesy play, he saw an opportunity to use the cool cat's talents for his own gain. Tony approached Bluesy one night after his gig, his henchmen surrounding the entrance of Swingin' Paws. "Hey, cool cat, how about you play for me? You'll get the perfect deal," Tony said, his whiskers twitching with mischief. But Bluesy wasn't one to be pushed around. He adjusted his sunglasses and replied, "Sorry, Tony, but I play for the soul, not for the shady characters. My music is free, man." Big Paws Tony didn't like being refused, and his eyes narrowed. "You better think twice, Bluesy. This city has claws, and they can be sharp." Undeterred, Bluesy continued to play at Swingin' Paws, refusing to be intimidated by the boss. One night, As Bluesy played a particularly soulful melody, the citizens of Jazzville gathered around Swingin' Paws. The music echoed through the streets, and even the moon seemed to dance to the rhythm. The people were tired of the corruption and wanted change. The next day, Swingin' Paws became the epicenter of a peaceful protest against the boss and the corrupted. Bluesy, still wearing his cool sunglasses, stood at the forefront, leading the crowd with his saxophone. The rhythm of change was in the air. Word reached the boss that the city was no longer under their sway. The power of music, community, and the courage of a cool cat had prevailed. Big Paws. Tony and his gang were left scratching their heads as the people of Jazzville reclaimed their city. Bluesy continued to play at Swingin' Paws, but now the atmosphere was even more electrifying. The city transformed into a haven of harmony and happiness. The corrupted were ousted and the boss left the city. Jazzville had found its rhythm again, and it was all thanks to Bluesy, a cool cat with sunglasses and a saxophone who refused to let the music be tainted by corruption. Bluesy had not only played the saxophone, he had played a part in changing the tune of his city, turning it into a place where everyone could swing to the beat of freedom and justice. And so, the cool cat continued to play, his saxophone echoing through the city, a reminder of the power of music and the strength of a community united. In the heart of a mysterious forest, there lived a friendly werewolf named Wolfie. With silver gray fur and golden eyes, he was known for his playful spirit and love of adventure. One autumn day, Wolfie decided to organize a scavenger hunt for his forest friends. Excitement filled the air as creatures big and small gathered. Wolfie explained the rules, and the scavenger hunt began. Hidden treasures like shiny acorns, sparkling leaves, and a magical feather awaited discovery. Throughout the hunt, Wolfie's kindness shone. He helped a bunny reach high branches, guided a lost squirrel, and shared shortcuts with slower friends. As the hunt concluded, the wise old owl declared everyone a winner. Wolfie's surprise goodie bags brought cheers, filled with nuts, berries, and a map to his secret hideout. Under the moonlit sky, the forest friends celebrated with stories and games. Wolfie's scavenger hunts became a cherished tradition, uniting the enchanted creatures in joy. And so, in the heart of the forest, Wolfie's playful spirit continued to make every day a howling success.